Hello, dear students. Welcome to the live sessions of BA Part First English Literature. Students, in this video, we will study a poem, Remembrance, that is prescribed in your syllabus. And this poem is composed by William Shakespeare, likely the most influential writer in all of English literature, and certainly the most important playwright of the English Renaissance. William Shakespeare was born in 1564 in the town of Stratford upon Avon in Warwickshire, England. Shakespeare wrote 37 plays, 16 comedies, and 11 tragedies, and 10 histories. He was also the author of the 154 sonnets that bear his name. Shakespeare's sonnets are very different from Shakespeare's plays, but they do contain dramatic elements and an overall sense of story. The two addressees of the sonnets of William Shakespeare are usually dedicated to Mr. W.H., and the second is Fair Youth. This sonnet that is prescribed in your syllabus, the name is Remembrance. This sonnet is also addressed to an unnamed young nobleman whom the speaker loves very much. This is also called sonnet 30, and on the screen you can see the text of this sonnet. As you all know that Shakespearean sonnet has a pattern of 3 quatrains of 4 lines each and a rhyming couplet. The rhyme scheme of Shakespearean sonnets are AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, and GG. Sonnet 30 means this poem, Remembrance, was written by the English poet and playwright William Shakespeare. This poem was first published in 1609 as part of a sequence of 154 sonnets. Sonnet 30 was most likely written in the early 1590s. At this time, Shakespeare was a young playwright, recently arrived in London. Despite its author's youth and inexperience, the poem broods on, means the poem thinks about life's disappointments. For the speaker of the poem, even thinking about such sorrows brings them back with all their original pain and power. Only one thing offers solace, means comfort, in the face of such pain, the love the speaker feels for a dear friend. So, this poem is all about the disappointment of his life, but one memory, one remembrance of the dear friend of the poet makes him feel optimistic, makes him feel comfortable. In Sonnet 30, the speaker rehashes all the injuries and disappointments of life. Means in this sonnet, the speaker recounts about all the injuries and all the disappointment of his life, like dead friends, lost pleasures, squandered opportunities. Means the opportunities that takes away and that past had gone past from his hands. For the speaker, neither memory nor time itself diminishes the pain of these losses. Just to think about them brings them back in their full power and difficulty. Indeed, the speaker suggests that memory itself is a powerful source of pain. So, the keynote of this poem is memory, because memory is itself a powerful source of pain. The speaker of Sonnet 30 means the poet has a lot of regrets and disappointments in his life, and as soon as the speaker start to reminisce, means to rethink about things past, these regrets and these disappointments come flocking in, overwhelming the speaker. The speaker broods over, the speaker thinks about the lack of many a thing in his life, in other words, about missed opportunity. So in this poem he thinks about missed opportunities. The speaker also weeps over old friends long dead. And the lines used in this poem are: Then can I drown an eye unused to flow, for precious friends hid in death's dateless night. The speaker grieves lost love too, love's long since cancelled woo. The first 12 lines of the poem thus constitute a long, exhaustive list of all the things the speaker grieves and regrets. Strikingly, these disappointments and sorrows doesn't don't seem to have faded with time. Means although the poet is thinking about the life's missed opportunity and about the regrets and disappointments, but these don't seem to have faded with time. Time usually takes the sting out of grief and disappointment, but that is not in the case for this speaker. Means, but that is not in the case of the poet. The speaker no sooner thinks of some four bemoan moan than the speaker has to new pay as if not paid before. In other words, the speaker endures the pain all over again, and it feels just as fresh and sharp as before. It is as though no time has passed at all. The first 12 lines of the poems are thus dark and full of despair. The speaker occupies a world in which no one ever really heals, where hurt and pain last forever, without subsiding or becoming bearable. And reflecting on the past, remembering it, only brings that pain back with all its power and difficulty. The speaker of this sonnet spends most of the poem in despair, obsessively meditating, means focusing on past disappointment, regrets, and sorrows. The speaker can't find any relief. Even the passage of time doesn't heal these wounds. As we discuss in this guide's theme entry on the pain of memory, remembering these griefs is like enduring the pain all over again. But in the final two lines of the poem, means in the couplet, the speaker finally announces that there is something that makes up for all these losses and disappointments, and that thing is love. After the speaker's intense despair, in the first 12 lines, the couplet, means the last two lines of this sonnet that closes the poem, provides a sudden and unexpected relief. The speaker reveals that there is a way to compensate for disappointment and sorrow. All the speaker has to do is think about the best friend, the dear friend, and all losses are restored and sorrows end. In other words, the speaker feels powerfully about the dear friend, so powerfully that simply thinking about this dear friend is enough to dispel the obsessive negative thoughts that pursue the speaker. Sonnet 30 on its own doesn't tell the reader who the dear friend, means this poem doesn't refer to any friend's name, but here we assume that there is a dear friend of the poet and for whom the poet is dedicating this sonnet. It could be read simply as poem in praise of the transformative power of friendship. But in the broader context of Shakespeare's 154 sonnet, it is clear who this dear friend is. He is the beautiful young man whom Shakespeare's speaker obsessively quotes and praises in sonnet 1, from sonnet 1 to sonnet 126. In other words, the speaker of this poem, if the reader takes the poem in the broader context of the sequence, is not just saying that friendship makes things better. Rather, the speaker is insisting that love, passionate and erotic love between two people, supplies all the pleasure, hope, and solace, means comfort necessary to survive life's disappointment and sorrow. So, the keynote and the theme of this poem is that not only friendship but a love or a friendship that is passionate, that is erotic,